Hello, my name is Robert Liberati, and this is Cyber Warfare for AIT 613. This is paper number 3. Introduction. Cyber warfare is an integral subsection of cybersecurity and a broad term used to describe geopolitical technology-based attacks. Since the dawn of computers and the adaption of digital communication, there have always been those who use computation as a weapon. These digital attacks have evolved alongside technology. As our society develops and relies further on computing, it is within reason to expect cyber incidents and cyber warfare will increase equally. The future of cyber warfare will most likely be faster than any type of physical weaponry. We can expect counterattacks and further actions to be nearly instant. The potential ramifications of cyber warfare are nearly endless. We can predict attacks on infrastructure control, civilian and government communications, and disinformation. By examining the history, the emerging technologies, and the potential ramifications of cyber warfare, we can better understand how to create a safer software that will evolve to protect consumer and government systems from attack. Cyber warfare is a term used broadly to describe a wide variety of digital military actions meant to cripple infrastructure, enact urgent financial burden, and create chaos within regions. These attacks look different from one another and can have a range of effects depending on the goals of the attacker and the readiness of the afflicted party. In publicly observable digital era history, we have seen multiple acts of cyber warfare implemented by different governments and used for different purposes. Fortunately, we have not seen nor do we know the full capabilities of the adverse nations in our world. Some consider the birth of cyber war to be from the Morris worm, which was created as a joke at Cornell University, intending to infect as many computers as possible. The virus ended up damaging 1 in 10 computers on the internet. As destructive as this was, it provided an important lesson to those in charge of cybersecurity. Despite the severe ramifications, the incident provided an important warning, highlighting the potential dangers of highly connected computer networks and the need for nationalized defensible capabilities in the cybersphere. The Morris worm acted as a catalyzer towards a more regulated cyberspace and led to dramatic changes, both conceptually and operationally. By learning from the failures like this, software security professionals can learn what to predict in the future. The past 2 decades have seen geopolitical tensions rise due to an increase in digital weaponry being used. The United States develops and maintains a multitude of cyber operations, but typically keeps much of it secret. Government watchdogs, in conjunction with journalists abroad, work to unravel cyber mysteries that lead back to the United States. As previously discussed in this class, one of the most famous acts of cyber warfare in recent history was the Iranian nuclear attack, which was undertaken by the United States and Israel. While this attack caused no immediate harm to any human life, it proved how capable the United States and its allies' cyber operations are. With only a few slight changes to the Stuxnet bug, the uranium centrifuges could have spun out of control and caused serious harm to Iran. In even more recent years, Russia has committed acts of cyber war against its neighbor Ukraine. Russia remotely attacked Ukraine's electrical infrastructure, causing a massive blackout. They attacked 3 Ukrainian regional energy utilities, turning out the lights to about 225,000 civilians, the first known blackout in history ever to be caused by a cyber attack. The outage lasted just 6 hours, but it sent a powerful message to the Ukrainian populace about their vulnerability to remote attacks, and to the world about the evolving prowess of Russian hackers. While this attack only had a short outcome, it showed the entire world that Russia was ready and willing to deploy its cyber weapons in efforts to control their influence in Eastern Europe. Russia's attacks on Ukraine were part of a long-term plan to invade and illegally occupy Ukraine. Russia is also responsible for bot farming political misinformation against Western nations such as the United Kingdom and the United States. General observation of political events like Brexit and the 2016 presidential election conclude that while Russia did not have a direct effect like that of changing votes, it operated by flooding social media feeds with misinformation. Misinformation on this large of a scale over time can sway voters and soil trust in democratic processes. This is a particularly convenient way for Russia to influence their global opponents without starting a physical war. Russia is not the only nation with these capabilities. It is currently estimated that 5 militaries have the ability to launch a sophisticated cyber attack, and another 30 will soon be in possession of this ability. Cyber weapons can easily be used against any country, and the developed countries are the most vulnerable to cyber attacks. As we progress into a more connected digital era, these countries with emerging cyber power will grow to become bigger threats. It is commonly noted that cyber war commences quicker than a traditional war, as opponents have the option of preparing their attacks by stockpiling the software malfunctions of opponents and unleashing attacks against them all at once. This method causes quick confusion and can lead to a whole country scrambling to get their infrastructure back in place before they can respond. A fear of cyber warfare is that opponents cause massive physical damage by letting dams flood, turning off electricity to whole cities, and cutting almost all civilian and government communications. Chaos and civil unrest are common themes in cyber war. When a nation like Russia attacks others, it causes chaos amongst civilians. This leads the government to stretch their efforts between domestic and foreign aggression. This confusion can cripple a country's response and leave them empty-handed to address foreign aggression. We have seen attacks on electrical grids before, and they have caused nationwide blackouts. The fear of this happening within the borders of the United States is what drives the United States cyber protections budget. Cybersecurity statistics show a proportional increase in spending when it comes to protection of government files, which are under constant threat of being breached. The figure represents a 5% or $790 million increase compared to 2019. The largest contributor to the budget was the Department of Defense, which is single-handedly providing $9.6 billion. However, this is the only figure that is known to the public. Due to the secretive nature of the activities conducted by military cybersecurity experts, the total budget could be much larger than it appears to be. It is likely that the amount the United States spends on cyber protections will never decrease, as the threat of cyber war will always increase. Alongside misinformation, cyber war also takes on a political edge to leak government secrets and the secrets held by politicians. While this isn't always misinformation, the untimely release of confidential information can lead to political unrest and a lack of faith in government and lack of faith in the security of cyber operations. There's another genuine and pressing problem that's often overlooked: the loss in the trust in tech and data. Emerging technology and data have the potential to do real good in the world, including solving massive problems like ending the energy crisis, feeding the hungry, protecting the environment, and curing disease. However, for any of these things to eventually happen, it must be trustworthy. Trust in the governing ordinances to protect the United States cybersecurity interest is a critical effort. By establishing a truly trusting relationship with the public, cybersecurity ordinances can work together to promote a safer cyber experience and protect the public in the event of true cyber warfare. By examining the history, the emerging technologies, and the potential ramifications of cyber warfare, we can better understand how to create safer software that will evolve to protect consumer and government systems from attack. Every country in the world needs to be prepared for a world where wars are fought on the battlefield. Cyber warfare is an evolving act, and it will not see a decline in its use in the future. From its inception alongside the computer and the newly networked world, cyber warfare is the past, present, and especially the future of global hostility. Without being properly prepared, we can expect foreign meddling in our elections, our infrastructure, and trust in our own governments. By preparing our country for a modern battlefield, we can protect citizens from hostility abroad.